was something that I didn't see a lot of people talking about. I didn't see anyone talking about appliances.
Effectively, a lot of these devices, these like large boxes that are plugged in your home, they're all based on kind of the technology stack of the 1890s.
It's just the industry has gotten lazy.
There's now an opportunity to take all of these new technologies that have been spooling up from the electric vehicle revolution and from the consumer electronics revolution and bringing them back into the appliance industry.
Impulse is building the tech stack for the new electric future.
We can then transform the grid just by upgrading these devices to kind of the next generation of technology.
This is crazy.
You've now reshaped the grid because you've basically moved a chunk of what traditionally was reserved as like a power plant into every single home all over the grid. And this actually means that you kind of change the dynamics of how the energy system works.
This is the biggest thing to happen in physical technology in 100 years.
What got Impulse started was I got extremely obsessed with cooking pizza really fast. I realized that there was not a way to actually upgrade the performance of any of these devices that are in people's homes and kitchens and stuff like that because they're fundamentally limited by maximum power.
We started with this idea that we're going to make these smaller batteries and hide them in places in your home. You already have a bunch of appliances that use energy. Those appliances have space in them, volume, that we could use to hide batteries. How did we come to the conclusion that we should start with a stove?
Gas stoves are really important because they're the reason why people want gas lines in their home. And if you can sever that dependency from a product needs perspective, you can then electrify all residential buildings much more easily.
Let's focus on something where the usefulness of the battery is obvious on its face. And that's why we started with the cooktop.
This is more power output than a typical at-home Tesla level 2 charger.
So we're going up. You can see it, the steam's coming instantly. I mean, I've never seen anything like this before. This water might just go out, like it might just dry up.
That's where the temperature sensor comes in.
We spent over 2 years developing a new sensor technology.
This is what we call the temperature sensor. So we actually flow heat through the pan into the sensor and are measuring that heat flow behavior, which gives us the most accurate and fastest temperature sensor on the market by far.
We had to make it so performant that it turns out you can actually use it for your day-to-day cooking in ways that nobody's ever thought about before.
You can set an exact temperature in degrees.
So your traditional cooktop has like low, medium, high.
0 through 19, and you have no idea what those mean.
Like, we can actually allow people to do everyday tasks that are seemingly straightforward but difficult to reproduce. Can you reliably make a medium rare steak? Perfect rice on your cooktop? Fry an egg?
Comes right off. There's like no residue. You made a perfect egg.
And our system is so performant that you can do all those things every single time.
So you'll literally never burn anything again. And then to top it all off, the fact that you can plug it directly into the wall.
This is running on a 120 volt plug right now off a power strip. You only need like a 15 amp, 120 volt plug to make it work.
Being able to show folks that the thing that they are most excited about gas in their lives, like that is the thing that we can replace and do literally 5 times better, goes to show you like, great, imagine what it can do for all of the other devices in your life too.
You then build this flywheel of demand where people are willingly installing these things. You've now reshaped the grid because you've basically moved a chunk of what traditionally was reserved as like a power plant into every single home all over the grid.
For me, Impulse was never a stove company. Even though we got famous for making a really sick stove, our ambitions are so much grander than that. By putting batteries in these appliances, you could basically connect all of the batteries together in a way that acted like a virtual power plant. Virtual power plants are frequently referred to as VPPs. During the day, you might be buying electricity that's produced by a solar panel, right, out on some solar farm. But at night, when the sun has gone down, there's a really good chance that you are buying power from a power plant that is probably burning natural gas in order to produce that electricity. That happens to be when most people are coming home from work. That's when they're cooking, that's when they're running the laundry, that's when they're running the dishwasher, it's when they're using all of their electric appliances. What a virtual power plant does, it makes it so that you don't have to buy the dirty and expensive kind of energy. What happens is you come home from work, you turn on your electric stove and your dryer and your washer and the dishwasher and whatever. Because you have energy storage built into every single one of your devices, the energy that you're using isn't being made right then, but it was actually made much earlier in the day when the sun was out and there was a bunch of extra energy because nobody was home, running their appliances. So that extra energy was being charged into all of your appliances and all of the batteries in all of your appliances. So as soon as you got home, that energy was there waiting for you, and it was cheap and it was clean. In a virtual power plant future, what that means is it's not just you, but it's all of your neighbors, batteries, and it's the people down the street. We're all able to kind of share and coordinate these resources so that there's a bunch of intelligent energy deployment exactly when and where you need it.
The larger the amount of distributed storage, the more opportunity we have to use that storage. 3 kilowatt hours is very useful for the stove and maybe offsetting some of your usage inside your home. Once you have 2, 3, 4 appliances, once you have 12 kilowatt hours of stored energy in a home because you have multiple impulse appliances, well, all of a sudden that becomes really interesting.
This is something where if you can convince people to install a cool stove because it's just better as a stove, you've now snuck this virtual power plant onto the grid without having to necessarily get permits or do any sort of negotiation. You can permissionlessly upgrade the grid with this new power plant just by selling a better product. And this actually means that you kind of change the dynamics of how the energy system works. That puts a lot more control into the end devices, the end user, than in the legacy systems that were much more centralized.
Most people don't think about certification, but it actually rules the world around us. If you were to pick up your toaster and flip it upside down, you would probably see a little logo on it that says the letters UL or MET or CSA. If you have an uncertified appliance in your home of any kind, let alone battery integrated, you might get your claim denied, right? And then you're on the hook for rebuilding your home just because there was something that was not compliant installed.
There are standards for batteries and there are standards for appliances, but there's not a specific standard for our particular approach or for an appliance that's as powerful as the one that we're building. That is an area that we had to create that space. So we had a whole 1.5 years of work before we really started building in earnest.
We went and built a first draft prototype. It looks almost the same as this. We took one of them to UL themselves and was like, let's do a teardown together and let's walk through everything we need to change. This meant that the entire engineering team has to grow an additional hemisphere of their brain to keep that factored in whenever they make a design decision.
Being able to show that our product is incredibly trustworthy means that it's something that every single person in the world can use in their home and rely on. For us, building something from scratch meant that we had to do that process end to end, right? We went all the way from design through to certification.
Our first product is certified to UL 858, 6730, 1973, UL 1741.
And we're the only appliance manufacturer in the world that has a fully certified battery integrated appliance. When you're joining a startup, the most important bet that you can make is on the team. And then I met the Impulse team, and it was just so engineering heavy, and it was a bunch of technical people working really hard to solve deeply, deeply technical problems.
They have a wide, expansive vision of where electric technology goes today, where it goes tomorrow, where it goes the day after tomorrow. They understand politics and policy. They understand the international situation and competition.
We've torn down over a dozen units. We've actually went and studied every type of induction stove that exists. We'll end up finding one with a random cool feature, this guy, it actually has a temperature sensor in here. We of course went and were like, how the hell does this one work?
Seeing that type of obsession made me realize that this was going to be a team that would build something that was a fundamentally new technology.
And that has the potential to become one of the biggest and most effective companies in America.
I think once you see someone use our product for the first time and you see them just get it.
I've seen this on video, but this is pretty close to the first time you get an Waymo effect, where it's just nothing you've ever seen before.
Water.
This is crazy.
Then all of a sudden people are more amenable to look at the other spaces in their home where they go, oh, of course, like if only I had a battery here, I could preheat my oven faster. If only I had a battery here, I could dry my clothes faster. If only I had a battery here, I could get on-demand hot water as quickly as I wanted. So I see a future where people are buying suites of Impulse appliances or buying suites of appliances that we embed our technology into, what we call Powered by Impulse.
Impulse Core is the tech stack actually inside the Impulse cooktop. So when we talk about Impulse Core, we're normally talking about the battery and the inverter. The battery is what enables this high performance across all of these, but it's what will eventually enable energy independence. And the inverter is what helps actually move energy in and out of your home. Because we have this system that we've already certified and proven out, you can put that system inside anything. So your water heater, your washer dryer, your stereo system if you wanted, you could put Impulse Core inside it and suddenly it is a grid stabilizer and a benefit to your home.
This allows us to get the reach of these legacy appliance players who have spent decades or even like century in some cases building out distribution networks in every city in the world. How do you actually reach real scale? And we found that doing this through partnerships is the exact right approach. We're really excited to be announcing several partnerships this year. We've announced one with Thor, and we've partnered with Zephyr. Zephyr is one of the top range hood manufacturers. They already have access to about 3,000 showrooms in North America, and we're going to be distributing through their channel as part of a co-branding launch. A lot of the value-added services, by basically putting our compute in every device as well, means we literally can run both the energy services and some other value-added software services on top of the ultimate platform that we deploy.
What we want that to look and feel like is when you buy any appliance that's powered by Impulse, you never have to think about, oh yeah, like let me set up my virtual power plant. We have to do all of that legwork. We have to build all that software and we have to make that experience as delightful and as seamless as possible.
What gets me really excited about Impulse as a company, the fact that we're able to actually redefine how the physical world works in a way where no one can tell us no. Because effectively we make revolutionary consumer products that individuals will want to buy. Those individuals will be able to help us redefine the grid without us having to necessarily do the traditional heavy infrastructure investments that would have made this possible in the past. You can go to showrooms across the street from our office. Sooner rather than later, there will be Impulse devices there without us having to even drive that distribution chain at all.
If companies like Impulse don't succeed, America will lose the future. America has always been there at the forefront of every technological revolution before this. Everyone, back to the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. But the electric tech stack, we are missing it because we're only talking about it in terms of climate. We are not talking about it in terms of power.
There are not enough climate superfans to fully electrify this country.
You know, on its face, what we're working on is very simple. Batteries exist, appliances exist, but marrying them in this way creates something that's so much greater than the sum of its parts.
Your home works better than it ever has. Your appliances or your machines are able to do more tasks for you in a way that isn't taking.
You essentially can choose when to grab the energy. You can choose to grab it when it's cheap and clean.
To offset the cost of charging your EV or whatever makes the most sense for you.
And the battery is not just for your stove or for your home, but it helps support the whole grid.
We're going to have the most flexible platform in order to pull that off.
I think this is the first time, like since Thomas Edison, basically, that we've had a chance to fundamentally change how we interact with energy.